Hey sports fans, ASMR Sports here. Today we're going old school, and I've already started chewing this, but got some good old double bubble gum, and it just occurred to me that this gum is wrapped in wax paper, and so are these cards. However, the gum is only like a couple months old, but these cards are much older than that. We've got 88 Donruss and 89 Bowman. Somebody commented that they wanted to see some actual wax packs, and I'd actually been thinking about doing kind of some old school stuff. So, no time like the present. There's really not a whole lot you can get in these that's got any kind of value. These 89 Bowman cards do have the 89 rookie card of Ken Griffey Jr. and a few other actually decent Hall of Fame rookies, but not that really have any value money-wise. Unless you can get like a really sharp copy, have it graded, and maybe you've got a, small profit on your hands there, but for the most part, I wouldn't expect to pull anything out of here that's got a whole lot of value, so this is just kind of for thrills, cheap thrills. These 88 Donruss, I got a bunch of 88 Donruss. I actually have like a wax case of it, plus quite a few boxes sitting around, so I don't know where these were in a box of just miscellaneous packs that I have. I pulled them out, but so Leaf Inc., it looks like, was based in Bannockburn, Illinois, which I presume is probably a suburb of Chicago, or else pretty close to it. I'm curious if anybody lives around there, if they've heard of that. Excuse me. If they've heard of that town, or if they're aware of like Leaf being in the neighborhood. Back when they still were in operation, they went out of business and sold their assets and stuff to other card companies. There's Roger Clemens, Hall of Famer, nice little print spot right up there. The big card, I guess, in this product is a Mark Grace rookie card. Mark Grace is not a Hall of Famer or anything. Actually, there's a Tom Glavine rookie card in here, but Mark Grace of the Cubs was just really well liked. He was one of these guys. I think he played his entire career with the Cubs. I might be wrong about that, but he definitely played a good number of years with them, if not his entire career. And there's just a lot of love for him in Chicago. So consequently, a lot of people collected his cards, and in perfect condition. Probably there's a market for a Mark Grace rookie card. This is kind of cool. Jody Reed, this is our first rated rookie. I love the rated rookie, logo, which Panini uses all over their products these days. They have the Donruss brand. They bought that from Leaf. Interesting, a different company owns the Leaf brand, so not everything went to the same buyer. This is actually pretty well centered. I never know with these older cards how forgiving, if at all, they will be, because there's just so much more like just edge problems and corner issues in cards from the 80s than in modern stuff. All sorts of production issues, I think, created condition problems for cards back then. assume anything really is a PSA 10 from this era. And I have sent a few 80s cards in that I thought were pretty dang near perfect, and I did a while ago a video on a PSA 10 return that I got, and most of the 80s cards that I sent in got 9s and not 10s, although I did get like 1 or 2 10s. So it's possible, but I feel like it's a crapshoot. If you think a card is perfect and it's from the 80s, like, you send it in and your odds are pretty low of it actually being a 10. Bill Buckner, the one and only. I like to look at the seal on these old packs because if you collect these cards, these wax packs and wax boxes, you kind of have to get comfortable identifying what a sealed pack should look like out of the factory, because a lot of people would open these and then take like a hot metal, like iron or something else that's hot, and just kind of hold it on there, and the wax paper would just seal itself back up. So there are distinctive patterns from the manufacturing process that sealed these up. It's different for different years and different brands, but like I'm looking here, and I don't know if you can kind of see it in the light there. There's two kind of like smooth strips here, and then a very thick kind of centerpiece here that looks like it has a much more kind of rough pattern. Now these packs I know are legit, because honestly, who in their right mind would search through 88 Donruss? But anyway, so you'd kind of look for this pattern, on more expensive packs, but it might change from year to year. So on tops, actually they're pretty consistent. You basically have like these two roller marks. There was like a roller that went over all the packs, and it left like two relatively narrow kind of strands here, or bands, and that is true of I believe like every Topps product from like the 80s onward. I don't know about before then, like 70s and stuff. But anyways, that's just a little piece of information on packs. If you send packs in to get authenticated to PSA, they actually go to a place called Baseball Card Exchange, which is in Indiana. And the owner there, Steve Hart, he's well known in the hobby, and he's been sort of in the unopened box and pack and case business for decades and decades, and he knows, as I presume his staff knows, what all of the different years of cards should look like in their wax packed form. All the roller marks, all the, what size the gum should be, all these kind of telltale things. They are experts at knowing what a pack should look like, and so they can relatively quickly look at some packs and tell you if they have been tampered with or not. So I'm sure plenty of other people have the ability. There's Hall of Famer Goose Gossage, Paul O'Neill, Yankee broadcaster. So I'm sure there's other people that, are familiar, people who collect a lot of this stuff probably, or maybe are in the business of buying and selling wax packs. They kind of have to know, whether something they're buying off. Oh, cool. Here we go. So, this is the card I was talking about, the Mark Grace card. It's just a beautiful card, you know. You got the red and blue border on a red and blue color, team color. You get the beautiful blue rated rookie. You got Mark Grace looking about 15 years old. Yeah, tough to criticize this card in any way. And then I always used to love it when Donruss, they never did minor league stats, and they only did like, you know, a few years of stats on any given card. So relatively little. Like there's one with a fair number of stats, but they don't go back as far as they can because they don't have room on the card. But anyways, on like a lot of the rookies, they would have this no major league record because they don't do any minor league stats, so there's nothing to put there. And I always thought that looked really cool because, you know, you're getting a card of a very early player, early in his career player, you know, and back before Bowman and other products where they had like prospects in for, you know, 3-4 years before they hit the major leagues. It was kind of a novel thing. You have to understand that for many years in baseball cards, Topps was the only company making cards, and Topps did not make cards of guys that had not been, you know, did not play in the big leagues. They didn't make up until like 85, they didn't make draft pick cards even as a subset. So, you know, you didn't have a Topps card if you didn't play in the majors, period. And that's the way it was for many, many years. So along comes Donruss and Fleer and to some extent Upper Deck much later, but Donruss and Fleer come along in 81. And for many years they kind of followed a similar rule. If you did not play in the big leagues, they were not going to give you a card. But eventually, I think probably like, might have been like 84 or 85. I feel like Donruss kind of opened the floodgates to, you know, players like Mark Grace, who, you know, had not played in 87 when they were producing this set and printing it. So Mark Grace did not have an 88 Topps card, just like Ken Griffey Jr. did not have an 89 Topps card. But both those guys were in, you know, the Donruss and Fleer products from that year. And I don't mean to say that Donruss and Fleer were, you know, like the sort of olden days version of Bowman, you know, which is all prospects, not all prospects, but like a ton of prospects and guys who, you know, are not going to be in the majors for several years. It wasn't certainly like that, but, you know, in a few cases they would put a rookie. I think they sort of put cards out of players they thought were going to be in the you know, the bigs in the following season, but had not yet played in the bigs as of the, you know, print date for that set. So they were taking kind of baby steps, but it was exciting when you're a collector at this time frame, particularly because you know, everybody was obsessed with rookie cards. Everyone wanted the first card of a player, right? So if certain manufacturers were starting to produce cards of players, you know, a year earlier than Topps would have done, then that becomes very exciting. And eventually, you know, they started doing like draft pick cards. So they'd put there's Will Clark, very big Hall of Fame Gator card. Will Clark was a beast back in the day. My goodness, could that guy hit? Anyways, yeah, so the right rookie kind of gets someone who was a collector like me back when this stuff came out kind of excited, because it meant you had a card that, you know, was your chance to have a rookie card that could be valuable. Prime Dog, Fred McGriff, fantastic player. That's an Hall of Famer. All right. Ozzie Smith, Hall of Famer. Carlton Fisk, Hall of Famer. Mark McGuire, not a Hall of Famer. Oops. Wow, almost got out of control there, guys. Sorry about that. All right. Paul Molitor, Hall of Famer. Oh, look at that. Roberto Alomar, Hall of Famer. That's pretty nice. That corner's a little weak, but centering on both these cards are pretty good. You know, not like perfect, but oh, and then there's Ryan Zamber. So we're getting actually a lot of good Hall of Famers. Out of this collection of packs here, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, this stuff really brings back the memories. I just remember when this stuff came out, you know, that was kind of the heyday of my collecting days, 88 or so. I collected probably most predominantly between 88 and like 90, 91. All right, let's go Griffey Jr. hunting now. Mike Schmidt, Mookie Wilson, Ted Williams. These reprint cards were pretty cool, but they're just like contest cards you fill in. So they're not rare and they don't have any value, but they look neat. So this 89 Bowman was the first year that Topps did the Bowman product. Gary Sheffield rookie, it's nice. Basically, until 89, nobody really owned the rights to the Bowman name because it was just abandoned, you know. Nobody had used it since Bowman went out of business, like in the 50s. It was like Bowman chewing gum or something. So then Topps decided to produce a card set with the Bowman name, and they became the owner of the Bowman trademark and have been printing Bowman sets. Tom Gordon, he was a pitcher for the Yankees, relief pitcher, really good one. But before that he was a starter, and he was actually pretty hot stuff back in 89. I remember him being like really hot rookie. So yeah, 89 was there's Hall of Fame Barry Larkin. 89 was the first year that Topps did the Bowman product. And by the way, it's kind of ironic because back in the 50s when Bowman and Topps were still around, and, you know, together, they were like, you know, arch nemesis. They were very competitive. Pretty sure there was like a lawsuit between them at one point. So for, you know, Topps to buy the brand and then use it is kind of ironic in a way, but you know, 50s were a long time ago, so I'm sure that few, if any, of the people at the Topps company were around for the dispute with Bowman in the 50s. By the time they came up with the idea for this set. So this 89 Bowman set was the one and only year that Topps did these large format cards. In case you can't tell, these Bowman cards are bigger than the standard 3x4 So I've got that level there. You can see how much bigger this card is, and this is what size cards used to be back in like the early 50s. So that Topps, wanted that kind of really old school look, and they decided to go with the big size. Turns out collectors were not super excited about that because it made it hard to store these things, since everybody's like sleeves and top loaders and card pages were made for the 3x4 card. So they quickly, that's a cool card. That's the one with Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. This is actually a really nice copy. Bottom edge is a little rough, but otherwise looks fairly decent. And there's a really cool 1953 Bowman color reprint of Mickey Mantle. I actually had an original of one of these that was graded at one point, but unfortunately I sold it quite a while ago. Like back in probably 2013 I sold it. At one point I had a really nice collection of vintage cards, including a lot of Mantles and a lot of like tobacco cards, like old Cy Young, Ty Cobb kind of stuff, and it was all graded. It was just stuff that I bought, over a period of, 3-4 years. And at some point I don't know, I just decided to sell it all. And I shouldn't have done that, because it definitely went up significantly after that. Andre Dawson, Mickey Martinez Hall of Famer. Jerome Walton, this guy was red hot. Him and Dwight Smith were super hot prospects in '89. They were both with the Cubs. Neither of them really had any good years to speak of, but boy, were people high on those two. Okay, one more pack to get a Griffey Jr. Okay. Gibson. Ozzie Smith, Hall of Famer. And Chris James, yeah. Benito Santiago. So let's talk about this guy for a minute. Oh, where'd he go? Where'd he go? There he is, Jim Abbott. So Jim Abbott, for those of you who are not baseball fans, or maybe are newer baseball fans and don't know much about what went on, this is Jim Abbott. He has the distinction of being the only one-handed player I think ever to play in the big leagues. Certainly ever to pitch. And when I say one-handed, I don't mean that he only threw with his right hand. I mean he was actually missing one of his hands. He, I believe, was in an accident when he was a child, and like basically lost. I think it was his left hand, because I think he was a right-handed pitcher, I believe. I'm just trying to remember, like, him throwing. Pretty sure he was right-handed pitcher. Yeah, throws left. Okay, so it was his right hand that was that he lost when he was a kid, basically, from just below his elbow down. So he has, his upper arm, and he would basically, what he would do is have his glove on, the arm that was missing a hand, and then he would throw, go through his windup, throw the ball with his left hand, and then he'd have the glove on his right arm, and then he would, as soon as the ball was thrown, he would switch the glove onto, his one hand, so he could catch the ball if it came back to him. And he was very quick with all this. Obviously, he was a very good pitcher to be able to do this at the major league level. So he was very good, and he actually threw a no-hitter when he was with the Yankees, one of the teams that he was with. So definitely had some talent. But anyways, that was a pretty cool thing when he came up with the Angels. I kind of wonder what he's up to these days. One time I looked up Kevin Moss, who was this guy, kind of a one-year wonder for the Yankees. But he was like this super hot player for 6 months. He had a ton of home runs. I think he was filling in for Don Mattingly when he was injured. He was a first baseman for the Yankees, and people just went bonkers over this guy. All of his cards, all his rookie cards in 1990 were skyrocketing. But anyways, he basically fizzled out after that year, and was never to be heard from again. So I looked up what he was doing. Turns out he's a financial advisor, I think, on the West Coast somewhere, and just kind of living a pretty normal life. I don't imagine that he ever really made any money from baseball because he was not playing long enough to be eligible for free agency. And back when he played, the league minimum was probably at the time, I'm sure it was a lot of money. But it was probably I don't know. It might not even have been $100,000. It was probably $100,000. I think now the league minimum is $300,000. So basically, if you're playing in the major league, you're making at least that much money. But back then, of course, inflation is higher. So I don't know how 300,000 compares to 100,000 in '87. Maybe they're roughly similar. I think that's probably actually not true. I think 300,000 now is still worth more than 100,000 in '87. But I might be wrong. Anyways, a lot of speculation here. But the point is, a guy like Kevin Moss, who comes up and basically never makes it to arbitration or never makes it to free agency, is not going to really have much money at all for a Major League Baseball career. So, they're just like everybody else. They got to find a way to make a career, make a living. And if they have a cool story about the year they came up in the majors and everybody thought they were going to be the next, Mickey Mantle, then awesome. But, it doesn't really sort of put them in a place where they can retire off that. So anyways, I like to look up sometimes what guys are doing. Another guy, sorry to babble, but I'm just thinking all these things. Another guy that was actually a really good young player back in the 80s is this guy named Chris Brown. He has a rookie card in 86 Topps. I read a book about him and Darryl Strawberry and I think one other guy that all went to this high school in I think Compton, Los Angeles, and three of them were really good, and they all made it to the major leagues and kind of all had very good early careers. And of course, Darryl Strawberry had a lot of substance abuse challenges and ultimately had really amazing talent and a few good seasons, but not a Hall of Fame caliber career. But anyways, Chris Brown was another guy. He came up with the Giants, ended up playing for the Padres, and he had a few really solid years, and ultimately retired in pretty early in his career. And he was working as a construction, he was operating a crane, so he was doing construction after his major league career. And I think kind of similar to what I was talking about with Kevin Moss, I doubt he was in the league long enough to make enough money to live the good life forever. So if at all. So he was just had to get a normal job like everybody else. And unfortunately, Chris Brown tragically died quite early. That was maybe I don't know, 10 years ago, I heard that. And I was kind of sad to hear that because, I read that book about him and learned quite a bit about his high school career and how he made it to the majors and all that stuff. Anyways, I can't remember the name of that book, but it's a really good read if you're looking for some baseball literature. But if you look up, I don't know, Joe Strawberry book, you'll probably find it. It's pretty cool. So, all right, well, enough from me. Thanks so much for watching. Everybody, stay safe out there and stay sane.